Good evening, everybody. This is, I don't even know what day it is usually. This is September 16th, 2020, Wednesday night. We are on Zoom for a regular session starting at 6:30. It's now 6:33, and I would like to welcome everybody. And I know we've been going back and forth between in-person and Zoom, but just setting up the meeting room properly so that it was in good, in proper shape for COVID has been just a little bit of problem. And the other thing, since this Wednesday night, tomorrow is a school day, and I didn't think it was fair to have the cleaners worry about doing extra cleaning because we had a meeting in there. So this is what we're running into, and we'll solve it as soon as we can so that we will be in person. None of us mind being in person. We'd like to be in person, but we're just worrying about the logistics of it all. So if anybody has any good, ideas or corrective, constructive criticism for that, let's discuss it and we'll see what we can do. I think part of the thing is setting up so that we have public is one of the difficulties that we might be running into. And the staff is doing such a fantastic job having the schools in such fantastic condition. I really don't want to impose on them. So like I said, if anybody has any constructive ideas for that, I'd be glad to listen to them. Our next meeting is October 6th, and we still have that listed as a location to be decided. So we'll see where we are. All right. Anybody have anything else on that they'd like to put in? Okay. So I need to announce the official announcement here that those attending tonight's meeting should be aware that the meeting is being audio and video recorded by ASRSD. And any audio members who wish to record any part of the meeting must inform the chair, who will announce the recording. This is to comply with the Massachusetts wiretap statute. The listings or matters, those listings of matters on the agenda are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. Okay. With that, I would like to call to order the regular session on September 16th. Can we have the Pledge of Allegiance to? We don't have Jonathan here tonight to put our flag up and lead us. So Mr. Quinty loves to lead the pledge.
Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Jim. Ms. Town, would you do the roll call, please?
Mrs. Granger?
Here.
Mr. Leone?
Here.
Mr. Quinty?
Here.
Mrs. Reshoots?
Here.
Mrs. Simmons?
Here.
Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is public participation. I would request that anyone please say their name and their address if they're going to speak. Our policy restricts any one speaker to 3 minutes, and I think we're going to try to hold this until 7 o'clock tonight because we have an executive session and a number of other things, and everybody has to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning for school. So is there anyone who would like to be part of the public participation? I'll give everybody 30 seconds or so in case their computer's not computing. Is there anyone in public participation?
Joyce,
Yes?
do they just have to put their name in the chat that they want to speak, and then
Yeah,
they'll be
Mike
brought
Tipo will allow them in when Mike
Okay.
Tipo sees them.
okay?
Okay. So if Mike sees anyone, he will announce them and turn them on, or he will turn them on and put them in the screen.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Just to
Good
address
evening,
one
Michael.
comment in the chat real quick. One person commented they don't think that the way it's set up that they can speak. If you wish to speak, just put your name and address right in the chat, and then I'll announce you to the committee, and we'll give you permission to speak through Zoom. Thank you.
Isn't that the way we were kind of doing it before? That's all you had to do?
Yes, yeah, that's the way we've always done it. Yep.
Okay. And it hasn't been a problem for anyone. I think we've had plenty of openings. So, so it'll be up to Mike to open people, so it keeps it in order.
Yep, we do have an attendee that would like to speak. It's Charisse Murphy, 49 Willard Street in Air.
Thanks, Michael. Go ahead, Charisse.
Let me just make her active. Give me a minute, please. Hi, Charisse. You should be able to speak now through Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I wasn't sure I can get on this call, so I don't have a well orchestrated question. So it's going to just come off the cuff. But I wanted to know if the school committee could address or speak to concerns of parents that have been expressed in the community regarding an incident that happened a few weeks ago on social media with the middle school principal. I didn't know what the policy, procedures, whatever it is that the committee addresses either individual parents or parents as a whole to their complaints. How, I guess, too, is another question. So that's one. And another question is, how do parents in the community feel empowered to be able to kind of act on those complaints? And how, are there forms? Like, I want to know about Title IX. So I'm curious. There were some complaints given to the superintendent and assistant superintendent, and I believe the school committee, or they were comments really from students and parents. So I just didn't know if the school committee could address that.
If I can speak to that in my limited knowledge and memory, in 1993 when Ed Reform went through, before then anyone and the school committee could speak on any personnel problem or any personnel happening. In 1993 with Ed Reform, the school committee was relegated to governing through policies and through the superintendent. And so it is up to the superintendents, up to the for them to handle any individual personnel things until it comes to a fact where there would be some other things going on. But until that point, it stays not with the school committee to comment. In fact, it's very improper. It would be very against our code of ethics to speak outside.
Sure. So I guess at what stage do we then, if it has gone to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, where next would you advise parents to go?
Well, first of all, on something I'd probably start at the more local level, and it would be very difficult for individual parents to move to that point. This comes up from time to time. It would be a matter of wanting to move it to a legal level, to move it into the committee itself. If anyone has any other ideas on that or comments, I'd be happy to. Go ahead.
Before they comment, can I just ask, do you mean individual representation from an attorney?
It would have to be something that would reach a legal level before we could act on it, and it would only be an executive session to discuss personnel. And so it's not up to the school committee to comment on personnel things.
Sure.
Until it's been handled. Okay. So the law is very definite on that, And in a way, I'm really glad that, I don't know how anybody was on school committee before 1993 when they hired and fired teachers, and some people got on the committee to fire a teacher was not a happy circumstance because they didn't really know enough to do it. So that's the way the law is written, and it's very definite.
Okay.
So it's not nothing that we know of at this point, as far as the committee is concerned, has reached that level.
Sure. Thank you. I was concerned. I want to make sure that parents feel supported by the district and that they know where to go, because that would make sense. I think that people are a little confused at where to go, but if you're saying that once we get to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, then the next step is some legal recourse, and I just wanted to be clear, but thank you.
Can I just ask a clarifying?
Thank you so much.
Can I ask a clarifying question, Charisse?
Yeah, sure.
Are you speaking to the incident and personnel, or are you also speaking to a lot of the stuff we have seen in social media, or parents have sent letters or emails about what is out there in social media?
Yeah, so it's not so much, I guess, that I am wondering, or for me, I can speak for myself. I am not wondering a personnel issue as much as I am concerned about some of the incidents that have happened with students and with parents that were reported on social media, and those that were also then emailed or letter written to the superintendent. And so I'm concerned that if they don't move past that place, I think that people are feeling, and myself, that where else do you go? I think, and that was my question. So it's not so much I need to know what's happening with the middle school principal, right? I think it is, if these are concerns that have been expressed, what happens after you're at the top? That's all.
So I would say the social media piece adds a whole other dimension to this. So when you speak to reporting via social media, that's not really reporting. So I would say to parents, if there was an incident, something that happened within the school system, it needs to be reported to the building principal. There's a way to do that through the school. Reporting through social media, to me, is just a bunch of people. It feels gossipy. It feels, whatever it is. I am really trying not to look at social media. It makes me sick to my stomach. Unless somebody is posting pictures of their kids on the first day of school, or they're playing with their dogs, I'm staying away from it because it's just nasty. Yep. So I would say, report to the school and the proper people in the schools if there is something that happens. Yeah. So
just not to cut you off, Cheryl, but I know I don't want to take up all the time, but just for clarification. So myself did report these things to Roberta, Akey, and Brian, right? So we know that. Everyone knows this and heard my story 1,000 times. I no longer have kids in that school. However, there are other parents who have done the same. Then they didn't hear from them, especially right now. We just went straight to Mary and Charlie. So that's the question. So it's not about the things that are on social media are great. I did share those with school committee to say, hey, FYI, it's not just the Murphys that are dealing with this. There's all these other people. So those were the screenshots. Other than that, I think that I'm wondering, because I know people have sent, and I have sent letters too. That's all. So I think that maybe Joyce did answer it, the next course is a legal recourse. But those, I want to be clear that I know people have taken the necessary, and gone through the channels the right way. So I just want that. So it's not just, I'm off of social media myself right now because it's disgusting, but.
And if I may, Charisse,
yeah.
They actually had, just to follow up a little bit, the court defined the scope of a school committee's responsibility as including comments about the superintendent of schools, the budgets for public education in the district, and the educational policy and goals of the schools in the district. Okay. And that's our limitation.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good.
Can I just jump in too? I just want to piggyback on something Cheryl said. So Cheryl did mention that any kind of social media threads that have complaints, I think she addressed that where, the school committee doesn't monitor any particular page to look for complaints or anything like that. So that's another thing I just want people to know, that if there's something going on, certainly, let a building principal know. And then if that's, not working in the chain of command, then you elevate it to the superintendent. It would be a good idea to CC the school committee so we know, what's going on.
Sure.
But I also just want to point out that responses from the school committee, and I've said this before, I don't want people to think if they're not getting 6 responses back, it's because all of us don't care and aren't paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We have that policy. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Just I completely understand. There could be people on this call that are new. I mean, we've had this conversation several times. I think I was just wanting to ask if we take the proper channels, what was next? And I thought maybe the school committee could, help in policy, procedure, or whatever that next step would be. That was all. And I understand social media and the policies with that. And I would hope that people aren't expecting you all to peek through people's pages and police them. It just was, I was wondering because I personally feel completely stuck and feel like I'm banging my head against the wall with some things. So I just kind of was like, well, what else do I do then?
Okay.
That's all. Thank you though.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the public comment section? Anyone else like to speak? Mr.
Yes.
Thibault will recognize you.
Yep. Excuse me, Madam Chair. This is Mike Thibault. We do have another participant that likes to speak, Erica Span from Span. I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry, everybody, but there is a 3-minute limit on any speech. So I think we didn't set it up tonight, but we'll try. If you could try to keep it concise, it would be good. Thank you.
Sorry, that was my fault, Joyce.
Mine too.
All right, Erica, you should be able to talk now.
Thank you. So one, Sharice, just to piggyback off of your question, the next steps are we do have an EEO representative, which is William Plunkett, for our school district, where we can file particular types of reports. And if you go onto the school website, it is now posted, and his extension is on there as well. There also is the recourse of asking for mediation with the Department of Education, or what they call DESE, and there is a website that you can go and you can file it. To speak to Sharice's point, there have been several complaints coming from parents and no response from Mary Malone. So ultimately the question is, at what time or what do you think as a school committee is an appropriate response time just to acknowledge the fact that there is a complaint, number one. Number two, when then would you expect us to take that step to escalate it, realizing that obviously you all are not able to make a decision on something, because silence is not okay. If I file a complaint and it's been, a week and you haven't had a response, particularly around this busy time, that makes sense. When we're going into 20-something days, 30 days, there's an issue there. So before parents, immediately escalate or kind of go by their own timetables, maybe a different way of asking this question is, would you suggest as a school committee to escalate it to whatever source that be, the EEO representative for the school, the Department of Education, just based upon the question itself?
I think that going back to the definition of our powers, it would not, if you want to CC us on something that you've sent the superintendent, that would be fine, but we cannot comment on it in a public situation. We cannot comment on personnel.
I'm not asking about you commenting on personnel. I'm commenting on policy. So we have a policy. You just identified a procedure that's in place, right? So what would be the elapsed time for said procedure? This isn't about Mary or the superintendent or the principal. I am asking about policy and procedure.
Well, we're constantly working on policy, and Mr. Quinty is in the process of right now reviewing a number of them. And we're getting advice on many of our policies right now. as to, because some of them have been there for a while, but we do have policies on that, and you know, they're probably not the tightest, the best, because they haven't been reviewed in 11 years. But Mr. Quinty is pulling out the important ones, and we are reviewing them. We have been stymied a little bit by being not being in person, because some of these things get pretty involved with the wording. But we are getting back to them. So the policies are on the school site. All the policies are up there, and anybody can view them.
But,
You.
Madam Chair, may I speak?
Thank you.
The question is more a timely one. Like, if there is no response, what do we believe is a timely a time for them to then go to the next step? And I think that's a fair question. If we're CC'd on complaints and we ask about something, or when we now informed that after a certain period of time something hasn't been done, do we then have the authority to ask what is being done about a particular complaint? I think that's fair. So do we have a policy?
You're gone, Joe.
I think we lost audio.
Hello?
Joyce?
We got you back.
There you go.
Did not hear any of what I just said?
No, you make these wonderful speeches, and we really enjoy them. Would you mind doing it again?
Joe, I think where we lost you is when you said, do we have a policy? So I don't know if you were getting at, do we have a
Okay.
policy with an acceptable time, or if that was what you were getting at, but we lost you right around then.
Yeah, do we have a policy with respect to that, or can we make a policy with respect to that? Because I think, you know, as long as things are going well, someone, you know, makes a complaint, it gets reacted to, it gets answered, it gets responded to, there's no issue. But if there is, the next step is legal, or can it still, because I'd rather handle things internally before things go legal. Is there a time period where we can then say, we can check on it and say, you know, what has been done about this? Is there something that's being done about this? And just to make sure that that's happened.
Thank you, Joe.
Joyce?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like, just from a policy perspective, because of the myriad of things that could happen under this umbrella, it would be impossible for anyone here to be able to put an absolute time involved with it. What I would recommend in any circumstance, that if anyone has elevated a situation to the superintendent level, and it's in a current review, then that whoever elevated to the superintendent level should stay in contact with the superintendent's office. And I would think that although an ultimate decision may take some time, there may be periodic updates that could happen through that channel. But I don't think there's anything we can do on an overarching policy perspective that would interject ourselves into the procedure. Clearly, how these things are responded to really would end up impacting our performance review of the superintendent's office as a whole, and that happens on an annual event. But from a policy perspective, I don't think there's anything much more we can do. But I would advise anyone that had interactions or issues they wanted to have handled by the superintendent's office to maintain contact with the office, and let's hope things get handled.
There's an annual, and then I think, don't we do a semi-annual update every year?
Right.
Okay. So if we could
I
move
ask
on.
another clarifying question? Hi, Erica. So are you asking not for an absolute answer, but a time period to respond, like I got your email, it's going to take me a while, or are you looking for a time period to solve some sort of issue? Does that make sense?
Well, and then it's very difficult to, like Jen was saying, this has to go into our policy discussion, and it would be what it is. So I think in this time frame where we're trying to get school open and a few other things, there's, you know, it's just, there's so much happening. So I think everybody's trying their best.
Okay. So I'm just looking at the comments. Erica's saying that she's simply looking for, I think, probably policy around an acknowledgement of a complaint, not necessarily addressing the complaint, but I've sent an email or I made a call, and I would expect, you know, some sort of acknowledgement within whatever it is, 48 hours or 2 school days or whatever that is. That's what I think.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anybody else in public participation? We will allow one more person to speak. Since Mike is not giving me a flashing notice.
There's no one else at this time, Joyce.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you. So if we move on to the consent agenda, if I could have, we have September 1st, 2020 regular session minutes for release. Does anybody have any comments on those additions or corrections? We have September 1st, 2020 executive minutes to release. Does anybody have any comments on those? Any additions or corrections? And if Mike could put up the warrant memo, because I don't have it, then I'll be happy to read that. And if anybody doesn't object, we'll do it as one consent. Does anyone object? Okay.
I think that's how we should be doing it anyway, Joyce.
Yeah, I just want to make sure in case someone wants to take something out, Michelle, and take it separate, you know, it's.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
I think that's the whole point.
Okay.
I have a question about what that family ID is.
Did anybody hear what Joe said?
I think he wants to know what family ID.
Yeah, what is that?
Mr. Plunkett can address that, Madam Chair. Mr. Plunkett could address that.
Yes, that is
$60.37.
Madam Chair, that is the online payment system for athletics.
Okay. Does that help, Joe?
No.
Bill, can you expand on that?
Yes, that's how families pay athletic fees, athletic user fees online.
Okay, so there's money that came in?
For athletics, yes. But we pay we pay a fee on those transactions.
Oh, we pay a fee. Okay, so who does that go to?
The fee comes out of the revenue that we receive.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying who gets the money?
That is the umbrella company that owns Family ID is My School Bucks is the name of the company.
Okay. Oh, so My Family ID, that communication thing that we send messages to everybody in athletics about. Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. That's great. Anybody else have any questions on the payroll and payables? And not, I'll read them so that they're in the record. AP warrant number 1181 dated 6/30/2020 for $58,236.63. AP warrant number 1047 dated 9/4/2020 for $60.37 to the Family ID. AP warrant 1051 dated 9/4/2020 for $601.55. I don't have that much money, so I have trouble. That's for the biweekly payroll. Payroll warrant dated 9/11/2020 for $625,472.50. I would entertain a motion to accept the
I'll make a motion that we
Agenda.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as listed on our agenda this evening.
Second.
Is there a second? And we don't have Jonathan tonight to second, so we're going to have to fill in, guys. Michelle, would you do a payroll? Would you do a roll call, please?
Mrs. Granger,
Aye.
Mr. Leone,
Aye.
Mr. Quinty,
Aye.
Mrs. Reshoots,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to new business. Would love to welcome Christine Miska for the robotics team pandemic plan. And what a pleasure it is to have you. She is here, right?
Yes, coming up right now. Right now.
Hi, Christine.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
There you go.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Nice
Thanks for
meeting you.
Appreciate it. Mary, did you want to say a few words first, or do you want me to just get into robotic stuff?
Sure. First, I want to welcome you, Mrs. Misker, to the school committee meeting and to present a plan to host robotics this year. I know you've worked very hard on trying to stay within all of the guidelines that we're restricted by to safely host any after-school activity. And I guess I could probably ask you, it's quite a Herculean effort, isn't it, to plan something around all of the restrictions that we have, but you have such a passion and you've done such a wonderful job with the robotics program, and it's really grown, not only in the district, but throughout the Commonwealth due to your efforts. So welcome, and we look forward to another season, and I'm supporting this plan that you presented, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. Madam Chairman, do I have a couple minutes to give highlights from last year's robotic season?
The floor is yours.
Okay, great. I know we haven't visited that often now that we're off and rolling, so just a quick update. So I'm here as the Air Shirley Regional School District Robotics Coordinator. I'm not here representing one team. I'm here representing all of our teams in the district. And we have, I want to recognize the head coaches who helped make this possible. So at the high school level, we have Bill Walter for grades 9 through 12. And that's our FRC team. And then at the middle school, we have an FTC team, and that's led by Patrick Doyle, grades 6 to 8. And then at Laura White and at Page Hilltop, we have First LEGO League Challenge. That's a new name this year. First LEGO League Challenge is grades 4 through 5. That's Amy Van Gilder, who leads it in Laura White, and Brian LaPointe, who leads it at Page Hilltop. And then we were going to restart our FLL Junior, or now called First LEGO League Explore, and that's grades 2 and 3. We started that last spring, but with COVID, we were unable to. So this year, we plan to start it with Laura White head coach Linda Atwood and Page Hilltop head coach Brian LaPointe. So we really have a powerhouse set of coaches. They're all returning from last year. So I couldn't have done this whole plan without input from them. Also, it's worth noting that we have, in 2019, we had 142 students approximately in the program. That's 14% of our school district, which has gone up about 1% each year, 1 to 2% each year since 2013, when we were down at about 6%. So we have a steady increase. Page Hilltop has the highest percentage at about 31% of their students in robotics who are eligible in the grades where we offer it. So yes, everything's growing strong, which is good. Last year, we had some awards that our teams received, which are not easy to get. So a Laura White team, the FLL team called the Laminators, that team won the Rising Star Award. At the middle school, we had 2 FTC teams, and the team called Dark Matter won the Design Award. At our high school level, we had a season cut short. We only did one competition with the robot, but in our very short season, we had one of our most successful seasons. We won the highest honor award, Chairman's Award, so there'll be a new banner for the gym to hang. We won the second highest level award, Engineering Inspiration Award, at the other competition. And then the one competition we did have was stacked with all the best teams, and we were literally frightened to go to that competition. We were in first place for almost the entire competition, and we won first place in the qualification matches. We got knocked out in the finals, but it really was one of our most successful robot performance competitions.
Christine, where was that?
That one was in Salem, New Hampshire.
Salem, New Hampshire.
Yes.
Congratulations.
They're in New England. The Southern New Hampshire teams are very strong. First Robotics started by Dean Kamen, and he's based out of DECA in Manchester, New Hampshire. So, we are surrounded by some very seasoned powerhouse teams. A few other highlights worth noting. The high school team ran their 4th annual summer STEM camp, and we had to completely transform it this year to a virtual program. I could tell you it was a lot of work, but it was a big success. We had just as many students this year, even though it was only virtual. It's usually our biggest fundraiser, even though it's a bargain at $175 for a week of camp. But this year we knocked it down to $55 just to cover the cost of the camp. And now we have everything on YouTube, so people can do the camp every year. So the other thing worth mentioning is we're really proud. This is our 2nd year that the high school team has done scholarships. We fund those scholarships through our fundraiser, like the Summer STEM Camp. And we had 12 seniors graduate this year, and 4 of them received a $1,000 scholarship award. So we're really happy to be able to help our graduating seniors. Also, just announced officially yesterday, we had 2 of our seniors that just graduated, William Shilp and Abigail Clements. They were 2 of the 8 students that received a BAE Systems scholarship and summer internship award. So across the country, they accept 8 students for the scholarship. It's a $20,000 scholarship over 4 years, and they're guaranteed a summer internship assignment as an engineer at BAE Systems. And other recipients were from Texas and New York, New Hampshire, and we got 2 out of the 8. So I'm pretty thrilled.
Wow.
And then I do have a summary that I'm going to get over to Bill Plunkett and Dr. Malone with our sponsorships and grants. It's important to recognize our sponsors. So if you wouldn't mind, can I just read them off very quickly? And then you can see the dollar amounts later. So Page Hilltop, for the first time, we applied for a FLL grant, and we were successful, so we are surely going to do it again. So my company, BAE Systems, paid $250 to all 7 of Brian LaPointe's teams. So that's $1,750 was awarded there. Middle school, we had grants from DECA. Again, my company, BAE Systems, A.R. Shirley Education Foundation, and an in-kind donation from ST Microelectronics. The high school team, we had Schneider Electric, Boston Scientific, Analog Devices, Polymer Shapes, Lexan Material was an in-kind donation, Johnson Controls, BAE Systems, SolidWorks, Cadet's company, Synopsys, had done matching benefits, Bemis Associates, Lucia's Restaurant downtown does a buffet lunch for us, Pet Food Shop, who's the grandparents of one of our team members, and again, A.R. Shirley Education Foundation. And I would say the majority of those sponsorships and grants in the thousands of dollars come from our mentors and coach volunteers. So So basically, Jim Van Gilder, Peter Gravel, myself, Bill Schilp, Earl Haas, Bill Walter, Greg Lupasic, they're all mentors on the team, and our technology companies, because we're dedicated to the team, it comes with money. So when you told me to start a team, I wouldn't have thought that there's a direct correlation with number of mentors and the amount of money. So continuously recruit. Okay, so those are the highlights. And I thought I would move on to this strategy document and the plan document. So it has 3 parts, and we're not going to go through every line of it, but the first section is just our overall strategy. You know, why are we here? What are we doing to guide us as we plan this season? I think during COVID, it's especially important that we still give opportunities to kids, and this just brings too much value to, we had to find a way to hold it this year. So during the difficult pandemic, robotics teams will allow kids to have fun, meet friends, learn new skills, receive mentoring, build confidence, learn leadership skills, and improve their resume and college applications. What we put together is a plan that will generate an inclusive, competitive team in a remote or low-risk environment. What we have this year is all students and mentors have the option to be fully remote while they participate in the team. Our teams are going to be in-person teams, but there are many activities that can be done fully remote. It does take more effort on the coaches' parts. As you all know, as teachers and facilitators, it takes extra effort to do remote, but it can be done and it's worth it. We also want to make sure our head coaches are being prepared for, at any point, there could be a situation where the school's closed. So we're going to try and be prepared if we need to go fully remote partway through the season. All the rules and policies that we have documented here were derived from the ASRSD blueprint plan, CDC guidance, FIRST robotics guidance, and the Massachusetts and MIAA guidance. And in some cases, we've been more conservative than those guidelines. And our overall approach is to make sure that our team structure and the meeting plans are going to reduce the density of people working on a single task and minimize any touched items. Okay, so then you can keep going down a little bit. You see the 4 types of teams we have. The next section you'll see is a table. It's a, oh no, it's the next section. Yep, keep going. You'll see low risk, moderate risk, high risk. Thank you. You can stop there. Yep, perfect. So those 3 references are word for word from the state guidance for sports. So we use the same criteria, the same language to assess all the robotics team program activities and what risk level are they. So just for reference real quick, we can see that the low risk activities can be done either socially distanced, no physical contact, things like tennis, golf, and gymnastics. Moderate risk activities are when it starts to have some contact, but limited incidental, right? So that's everything you guys already approved: baseball, softball, soccer, track and field. So that's comparable. High risk are things like football, basketball, cheerleading, where there's a lot more contact. We have, out of all the activities we have no high risk activities. And only very few moderate risk activities, which we have in our plan coming up. So if you want to slide down to the next page. Okay, pause there. So this is, good. I have it all on one page. So if you were to have a printout, this full page is a list of all types of activities that the robotics teams do. All the teams. So it talks about things that maybe are done in the 2nd grade all the way to the high school. These items that are highlighted in blue are activities for the robotics teams that can be done fully remote, so that if a student signs up to be on the team and they choose to be fully remote, then they can fully participate in being part of the project team, the research team. You know, every robotics presentation and a project and a research project. You can be part of game strategy. You're still meeting kids and having fun, even if it's through Zoom. And you can learn robot programming. You can learn SolidWorks CAD and learn the design process. So all those things there. And then you can see when you start to get down to, you know, build Lego field components. You can either do that remote if we send some of the pieces home and then collect them back. Kids can build their own pieces separately and then the coach can integrate them together. Or it's low risk where they'll be done during the meeting at separate stations at tables. Programming the robot, you can do some programming at home, save the file, and then the coach can run the software on the robot at the meeting. Although it's a lot easier to be at the meeting and you can run it with social distancing. So if you do end up looking through, you know, how we split things out, some places we have X's in both columns because we can adapt to different ways. And I think you get the general idea. If you scroll down near the bottom, you'll see some things in the X's. Keep going a little bit more to the bottom of the page. Yeah, okay, so you see in the second from the right column some X's. So the only items that we have identified as moderate risk, so the equivalent of soccer and baseball from the sports analogy, is hardware, debugging, and mentor coaching. That can be done low risk, separate, but there may be times where you're briefly within 6 feet to be looking at a robot or trying to figure out, you know, a mechanism on a piece of hardware. The FRC team, that's a high school team, that robot is 125 pounds without the battery and the bumpers. So, you know, it's almost 150-pound lift. So we need a 2-person lift. They're on each side of the robot. It's about 3 feet apart, 6 feet. So that would be a brief moderate risk scenario. Obviously, we're going to have masks and stuff with that. And then briefly, at the FRC level, if a student's using a power tool like a drill press, the mentor needs to be nearby. If there's an issue, of course, the mentor is going to get closer than the 6 feet for any safety issues. And then the only other one I have at the bottom is competitions at the high school level. Once we know what they are, they're usually in spring and April, March and April, but they're delaying the season. It's going to be June and July. So when the time comes, we'll have to assess whether there's any moderate risk things there. Okay, so that was some of the process. So the next page starts to talk about the policies we have in place. And I think it's important, even when we do recruiting, hey, would you like to join the robotics team? If I didn't see these rules, I wouldn't let my student join the robotics team. But hopefully with these rules in place, people can see that it's a safe situation for the kids. First of all, this whole list of policies is going to be given to the parents and the students, and they need to sign and commit that they'll follow the rules, or they're going to be sent home. Attendance is going to be taken at all meetings. We do that, at least for the high school, we do that anyway. But we're not going to have everyone sign in sharing a pen or paper. There's going to be an adult assigned to sign in attendance. Students are already split into teams and go to separate rooms. So we already have smaller cohorts. Naturally, we know who's with who, and we'll track those. This next one, anytime you see 3 asterisks, that's me indicating that we're going above and beyond the recommendations, you know, to be extra conservative. We're going to take team member temperatures. I just bought 4 touchless thermometers. One school. I know it's not required, but it's an easy thing to do. So, and we're not saying 100.4, we're saying 100 degrees is our threshold. So, and if there's a student with a high temperature, we'll have them go back home with their parents because we're checking them on the way in. And we're going to contact the school nurse. And so basically, all the school policies will trigger, because we're not going to manage the, when someone can come back. When the nurse says that the student can come back, they can come back. Hand sanitizer will be used upon entry and exit, and the adult taking attendance will witness that. I already talked about no sharing of pens, a paper, or computer for the coming in. We're going to minimize touching of shared items. There are some things that the robotics team will have, like safety glasses, for example, at the higher grade levels. So I purchased with my stipend money as an ASRSD coordinator. I'm going to invest that in the thermometers, and I'm going to buy safety glasses for every individual for them to own and take home, and any other, like a whiteboard marker and their own little kit for things that they're going to need. They can bring their own Chromebook to minimize sharing of computers, their own whiteboard marker, and when they sit down at their station, they can have a name tent. That's their desk, that's their computer, there's no sharing in between. So that's part of our social distancing strategy. If you scroll down a little bit more, masks will be worn for the entire meeting, and for the older grades, FRC, middle school and high school, they're gonna wear safety glasses the entire time. That's another place that's going above and beyond the rules, but the same way the mask protects you from touching your face, the safety glasses will protect them from touching their eyes. Even though the software team really is not at danger sitting in front of the computer, we're still going to require safety glasses. We're not planning on giving out any food. We're not planning on snack time. That's not going to be part of the meetings at all. If there's any food that needs to be eaten, especially if there's medical reasons for that, then they will only be able to eat it in a school designated area. And right now that means outside. So like I said, we're not planning on any food, and they have to bring their own water bottles. Okay, you can scroll down. Let's see. Okay, stop right there. So the last one on the first page there, I did talk with Mr. Briggs to make sure that we are aligned in the plan, that the janitors, Mr. Briggs' team, will make sure that the meeting space, the rooms that we're in, will be sanitized by his staff before the meeting and after the meeting. And that way it's being done at the standards of the school. And so it's not, you don't have to rely on the coaches or anyone else to do that. We're going to be doing, when you help a student program a robot, we are often sitting side by side, shoulder to shoulder, looking at the computer or doing CAD. We won't be able to do that anymore, but we have technology, so it's not going to be a problem. Mr. Tebow is going to help us get ASRSD accounts for the coaches so that they can do a Zoom session. And we can do screen sharing, and we can project the screens in the classroom so that others can review it, at a distance and still collaborate. So we found some good workarounds there. Okay, and then the next one with some stars. So we actually have quite a few robot kits between ASEF and the PTOs purchasing Mindstorms over the years. And then with the amazing grant that we got last year, we were able to buy many FLL Junior WeDo kits. We have enough kits that we can have, one kit for a couple of kids doing an activity, or we may even have cases where a student can have their own kit to be doing a project at home. So we're going to maximize student separation, minimize sharing of parts, at the junior levels, they shouldn't be touching common parts really at hardly any of the meetings. They'll be in separate stations, and their next meeting will be in a week, and the virus dies on plastic in 3 days. So we don't have to rely on sanitization of all those little Lego parts. Okay, you can scroll down. Keep going. The one on the bottom there. So robotics team coach will notify the nurse, Renee, if there's a member with an elevated temperature. And we're going to look to the school nurse as to the policies for when someone can come back. So we're not making up our own policies there. Keep going down. Actually, that's the last one, I think. So I know it was a lot, rapid fire. Are there any questions?
So I have a quick question if I could. So Chris, this is really thorough and I would expect nothing less from you. So thank you for putting this together for us. It's great. And I just have a question for you with regard to the overall organization. You mentioned that they have delayed the season as far as competitions. Have they delayed the season for when you guys can start to build and all that? Like, is the whole season delayed, or are they, have they given any guidance on when they expect to announce when the season's going to start? I only ask this because I know Mock Trial has already had an announcement made for their season, so I just didn't know if they've given you any indication for robotics as well.
They have, and you reminded me that I forgot to talk about a couple of things there. So number one, the 4th and 5th graders, FLL, and the middle school, FTC, their season has started right now, and it always starts right now at the beginning of the school year. And their competitions are in December, right? So there's not a lot of time, which is why we really need to get going. They've got robots to design and build. But this year in Massachusetts, FLL and FTC tournaments are going to be remote. So there's not going to be a crowded gym where we have, that's where the biggest risk would be, right? It's one thing to have a meeting, but then you gather crowds. So there won't be crowds there. As a matter of fact, we may be helping to host one of those once we learn what it's about. That means we may need to gather still a few members of our team around a field that's sitting at the middle school and record our robot doing its stuff and send it in. So, but there won't be gathering of multiple teams in one place. Now, when it comes to the high school team, it was just in the past week that I saw they're delaying the World Championship from April to June and July. So they're extending the season. So we'll have to see what those dates are. But I think that's just trying to increase the odds of being able to do something in person, because you can't do that remote, right? They'd have to, that's hard. So the other thing is, last year, the season started to get canceled after for early weeks of competition. So some teams didn't even compete at all because they were canceled before they competed. So some didn't get to play the game that we had last year. So they announced last spring that this year's game is going to be nearly identical. So for the first time ever, we know the game, except they'll do a few minor changes to change it up in January, like when we normally find the game. So the weird thing is, normally you have 6 weeks to build and you build like crazy. We have the same robot. We could have, some teams I'm sure are refining their robots since last January and all summer. And, we didn't meet in that way. We've met all summer. We've been making shields for the high school or the school district, face shields. We've been doing the summer camp, but we haven't been touching our robot because that requires us to figure out the safety plan first. So we're going to be able to start with the high school, but it'll be a little bit easier. Our strategy will be, we have a robot that plays the game really well. Let's not break it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that you have a head start because your robot performed so well last year, so that's good.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a second robot. We usually have 2 anyway. Last year's the first year we only did one. So we'll make a second one with new and improved parts. But at any moment, if we stop, we have something fully functional.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Krista, I can't tell you how wonderful I think this program is, and your dedication to it is obvious when we have 14% of our school district taking part in this. I don't think we can elevate science any higher at this point, and I congratulate you totally for going through all these details with COVID. We all do it in whatever work area we're in, and I'm sure your company has flipped themselves inside out also. And I say people who are working more hours than they ever worked before, and obviously you have done the same thing here. So thank you so much. Our vote is to simply tell you to go ahead. Is that because we've had the robotics team for quite a while, but it says, I guess we're voting on your plan, that it's acceptable is what the motion should be around.
I think so, because only because it's a COVID pandemic time. We just wanted to make sure you were giving us authorization to get started.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, so this is an extracurricular activity, and so that's why the school committee, as you voted on the fall sports.
Oh, I see.
The last meeting, you would vote to approve the program going ahead.
Does anybody have any other comments or additions or anything they would like to ask? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to accept the robotics team pandemic plan that was presented by Mrs. Christine Miska.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other additions? If Michelle Town would do a roll call, please.
Mrs. Granger,
Aye.
Mr. Leone,
Aye.
Mr. Quinty,
Aye.
Mrs. Reshoots,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Again, Krista, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for everything, and tell us what we can do to help you.
Well, I should make sure that I thank all of you, because I've always felt the tremendous support from the school committee. I'll also tell you to spread the word. We're likely going to need some more volunteers to make all this remote stuff and spread out things happening. So tell your friends and family to contact me and high school kids to help volunteer. And a huge thanks to Dr. Malone, who has helped make this possible every step of the way. I know we don't get dollar donations. Luckily, we've been pretty good about getting a lot of our own sponsorship, but we're able to get into the building on weekends. And I know that she and Mr. Briggs are making sure that the buildings are all open for us to do our hard work. So thanks to the whole school district leadership and Dr. Malone.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you for your great presentation, and thank you for the great work. And we look forward to, every year I get to at least one of the meets. And if any of our viewers of the school committee, if you haven't had a chance to go, it's fascinating. And you can go in at any time because they run all day. Right, Christine, you're there for hours. So at any time you go in, you usually can catch when the robotics competes in their match. So our team, so it's really good.
Yeah, or just let me know when a good time to go is. You might be able to watch it from your couch this year with
virtual.
Yeah.
Well, it's different because it draws a really big crowd. I mean, you really can't even find an empty seat.
I was going to say, check your local listings because it might be different this year. So
yeah, it will be, I'm sure. Yeah.
We'll advertise on our social media. Olivia Stryker is a great social media lead for us, so we'll make sure you know.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is Superintendent's Report. Dr. Malone, reopening of schools.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So today was the day that we have been planning for since school closed in June. It was pretty intense and challenging, difficult, hard opening to plan. As you know, this is the last time we had a pandemic was about 100 years ago. And so we were learning along the way, and everybody in the district, all of the administrators, the custodial department, food service, everybody was hands-on, and it made today very successful. We were out early this morning. We wanted to check on students at the bus stop, And Mr. Plunkett even rode one of the buses, and the principals and Mr. Cleary and myself, we drove around to say hello to kids and use your wonderful signs that you had made, Joyce. They're lovely. And
Usable too.
yeah, no, that was really good. And the kids had, the students had big smiles on their faces. And then we went through all the schools. There was just about every classroom today. And it was just, I don't even have words to say how pleased I was and how proud I am of everyone in the district. The students were really happy to be back. When I asked them how it was going, they gave us marks of 110, A++. It was really, it was excellent. So tomorrow we will welcome back. So today we had the Panther students in. Tomorrow we have the Prize students in. So we'll, do the same process tomorrow, greeting students at the bus stops, and then going into the schools and into all of the classrooms and getting to as many as we can. That's a half-day schedule, but pretty much I got to almost every classroom today. And I want to thank the school committee for your support. We know that this was challenging and difficult. I want to thank, of course, all of the teachers and the administrators in the district. Also the parents and guardians for their support. Their children were prepared. It didn't seem to be hardly any confusion today. Everybody, knew, everybody was clear. We know that it was a lot of emails that parents were getting and a lot of information to read. I mean, the blueprint itself was, about 70 something pages. So we appreciate the challenge that they had as emails were coming in from the district and from the individual schools. So we know it was a lot to manage, picking up bus passes, things, the bus route. I want to thank D-Bus too. I actually was going to text Mrs. Martin tonight, but I didn't have a chance. D-Bus, it was great. They worked really hard. I mean, it took them a while to do the bus list. And, we had families that were changing their minds about the cohorts or going from remote back to hybrid. And so we tried to accommodate as many families to the latest point that we could. So the bus routes were published on Monday, and the buildings did a fabulous job getting the bus passes all ready, and parents picked them up. Mr. Tebow and his team, the distribution of the Chromebooks. And I also want to thank, our two town manager, Robert Pompian, and town administrator, Mike McGovern, and the boards of selectmen for their support. The Air and Shirley Police Departments, they were out in full force today, monitoring traffic, making sure things were going smoothly. We know we have our resource officer, Jen Bigelow, who organized, the local police to be out and being aware of students going to bus stops and such. So a lot of thank yous. I don't know if you heard anything, but I've heard from some parents and got some really nice emails thanking us, thanking the district, and saying that their child had a really good day today. So I don't know if anybody wants to ask any questions about opening day. I'd be happy to entertain them.
Can I ask a selfish question? But I think it might help others too. If you did not get your bus pass yet, because I totally forgot yesterday, is there a procedure to get the bus pass?
I would just email the principal and just say, when can I come in? Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe others have the same question, hopefully, and I just didn't hog the meeting.
Yeah, the principals, I had talked to them about, they offered some evening hours last night, realizing that parents work during the day. So it was a challenge. So I think they offered that. So just email Mr. Christie. I'm sure he'll be happy to accommodate you.
Thank you. And I just want to commend everyone on working together to make this happen. That we've got our students back in the building, which, a couple of weeks ago we were all really nervous about, and I think, everything seemed to go really smoothly. I think, we've put the proper protocols and procedures in place, and hopefully we can continue to expand on half days to full days to full in person.
Yeah, yes. And the teachers, I mean, all of them today just were so, they were relaxed and they were happy the day was here. And even our remote teachers, so the students that are in the full remote learning academy, they were all obviously in class. So as I went to the classrooms, I was able to zoom in and say hello to our remote students as well. And everybody was smiling and waving. And, you know, it's amazing when I say, you know, do you know who, even the youngest ones, they all know who I am. And it's nice. And I appreciate that. I think when I interviewed about 6 years ago, that was one of the things I said in my interview, that I wanted the students to know me. And I can say that, you know, pretty much they all do. So that's a really nice feeling. And they were just so happy, and they all had their masks on. And you know, the teachers so many commented about, you know, just having a smaller number of students and how different that is. And you know, it's kind of nice, and the students really get you know, individual attention. And even though it looks, when you go into the classrooms, it doesn't look like there's only 11 students, because there's still, you know, 20 desks. But it was amazing, and I'm proud of everyone, and I can't thank everyone enough.
So I just want to jump in real quick to say, you know, thank you, Dr. Malone, and everyone you work with, from families to teachers. I work in education and have for a long time. This was a monumental task, and I got to witness it both with Air Shirley and where I work. Problems came up, back to the drawing board. Questions came up, back to the drawing board. These people were working night and day all weekend. Believe me, I was on the phone with Dr. Malone, you know, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. When she's driving home at 8 o'clock at night, it was a monumental task, and it's by no means perfect, but I think it was put together to start off successfully. And I think we're in a good position to tweak things, and we're ready for all that. And I do want to send a big shout out to the teachers, because when my daughter, it wasn't her cohort today, but she was online, and there was a whole lot of laughter coming from her bedroom. So that is awesome.
Yeah, you know, and what's even more amazing is the fact that our remote learning academy students are being taught within our district. Yeah. And so our elementary model is that we have our elementary teachers, and most of the teachers, they volunteered to be the remote learning teacher. And then the high school and the middle school teachers, they're live streaming the remote students. Most of them are into their classrooms. And we have a few teachers that are live streaming from their home into their classroom. So it's really fascinating to go to all the different classrooms and see the different modalities of teaching besides the in-person, and how it's working for the students and their families. And we started out, the motto, you know, let's build something great, and we want to continue to build. That's our theme, you know, in our district and in our staff is to build something great. And we're doing that, and we'll keep improving it. And, you know, there's always issues with technology, you know, and people have to have patience with it. Like even in my home, I've been getting messages on my computer that my connectivity is unstable. And, you know, I don't know, I haven't had a chance to look into it yet. We were in one meeting and my computer just shut down. So, you know, so you ask people to be patient with technology, and Mike Thibault, of course, who's hosting this meeting, will attest to that things can happen, and internet connections can be unstable. And so just ask for patience. And I know Mike is really good at responding to families and such. So Mike, do you want to add anything to that? Not to put you on the spot, but.
No, that's fine, Mary. No, just want to echo your comment about patience. I think that's key here. You know, there's a variety of factors at play. There's a lot of new technology, new ways of doing things for everybody, parents, teachers, students alike. So yeah, just a little bit of patience, work together. We'll figure it out. What we're doing today may not be the final way that we do things. It could change tomorrow, it could change next week. But we will definitely figure it out.
Yeah, and then my last comment would be like, for example, I think, Cheryl, you mentioned about how things change, and even with the Department of Education and, you know, the Commissioner of Education, he talks frequently with superintendents, he meets with us weekly, and he is available. But, you know, things from that department too, you know, things evolve and change. So like, I think it was last week, we got the attendance guidance. So we're trying to, you know, flush that out and create procedures for that, and have parents understand, you know, the procedures for attendance, and make sure to understand it, and the teachers and such. So, you know, I guess my point here is that we weren't doing anything last minute. It may have seemed that way, but we've been working on all of these pieces. And as the department, you know, works on their things and sends them out to the school districts and said, this is, you know, the guidance of this is what we're requiring you to do. Attendance is mandatory this year. It wasn't, you know, in March when we had the emergency closure. And so we, you know, we wanted to create a procedure that everybody could understand and is equitable for the remote learning students in the hybrid model, because they have a remote, you know, segment of their learning, and then of course a remote learning academy. So I think we achieved that, but it, you know, it takes work. And a lot of deep thinking to think about how to roll something out, and to make sure that it's going to roll out so that everybody has access and everybody can understand the processes. So again, you know, I thank you to everybody.
Mr. Quinty, did you have a comment?
I do. Just a comment and a couple of observations. I just want the general public to understand that what we're going through now with the plan is really only one of 3 plans that they had to come up with independently, depending on what the situation was going to be. The reason we're able to do what we're doing now is because both the administration and the staff, the teachers, everyone understands the being in a room physically with somebody at any amount of time really helps form a bond. We're trying to all get together here for teaching and learning, and that's best done in person. In today's environment, you can't do it fully, and the only reason we're able to do the plan we're doing now is because of the amount of work and preparation that was been put in, and also from a community standpoint, the fact that our disease transition rates are so low. Right. And that's shows a lot of discipline in the towns of Air and Shirley. If you take a look at what the infection rates are, we're only able to put this plan together and keep this plan in place because of those rates. That also means that if the communities lose faith in adhering to what we're supposed to do, it can all be taken away in a heartbeat. You don't have to go far on today's news to find school districts and schools that are automatically having to go full remote because a lot of people wanted to have a big party. So the discipline must continue throughout both communities for us to continue to do what we're doing. And I'm sure that we're up to the task. Thank you.
Yeah, one last thing, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Quinty, for your comments. And so the other thing I would really give accolades to the district, you know, the team, the teachers, you know, particularly the administration, is that we put out the hybrid plan, and we have been consistent with that plan. We haven't had to deviate from that for, you know, various reasons, and there's no criticism of any school districts. This is really hard, and there are school districts that, you know, have 16 schools versus 4 schools, and, you know, we ordered our equipment early, we ordered the Chromebooks early. You know, Mr. Plunkett was you know, had the foresight to order all those HEPA filters and things. So a lot of our things, you know, we did early on, and with the good thinking of all of the members of the team. And so therefore we were able to present the plan to you that we presented, that you voted on, and then we were able to execute that plan without having to switch or delay. So, you know, I'm very proud of that. So thank you.
Cheryl, did you want to say something? No, I thought I saw your light come up. I'm going to, if I might kick in a little bit, you know, they say that, you know, being someone who's not in the school, it's terrible to just look at a snapshot. But I will tell you, the snapshot I saw today was fantastic. I ended up at Laura White in the middle school, saw the kids getting off the bus. They looked like they didn't know where to go, but everybody was wearing their masks. No one was pulling at it. No one was, had it down or anything. And the kids were like, okay, where do I go? This is good. So I didn't want to go into the schools because I felt that was improper. But and Laura White being the elementary school, and there were about 25 teachers lined up at the hall with pom-poms and bells and cheers. And, if you were finishing the Tour de France with the Krauser Tour de France, screaming on the sidelines as the racers come across, that was pretty equivalent to what was going on in Laura White this morning. And I'm sure it's going to be repeated tomorrow. So the things that I saw were some like, oh, this is first day of school. My daughter doesn't have her bus pass. I'm bringing it. The funniest one was like, what time do we start? And I'm like, this has only been said 100 times, but it's typical first day of school stuff. There was nothing that wasn't first day of school. Oh, do I need this? Do I need that? Oh, I need to give you this. My son forgot. My daughter forgot. And typical elementary school happenings. And it was really good. It was very smooth. And so for seeing a snapshot, it was excellent. And everybody came.
Into the teachers' credit, I mean, our teachers, their first day back was August 31st, and all of our teachers came back, and we were ready for them. We had, the classroom was ready. The PPE was in the classroom, and I think they some youth themselves. I don't know. So, the PPE was in the classrooms, and, we have a few teachers that are on tonight listening to the meeting. And, so our teachers came back and, they took the tasks on, they participated in the professional development, they prepared their classrooms, and it was very smooth and it was seamless. And again, it's about preparedness and, keeping your eye on the ball and staying focused and doing the hard work so that the students, the most important piece of the whole of why we have school, come back today and have smiles on their faces and go home and say to their parents, I had a good day today. It was nice to be back in school. And I think most of the students, I would say, did that today. So,
well, and also behind the scenes, there was one parent who was commenting how wonderful it was, the conference that he had with his student's teacher that they had done online, and how helpful that was. So
thank you.
There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we know were done that really were way and beyond and very, very good.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. And that completes, I'm sorry if someone was going to speak.
Jim started to say something. Mr. Quinty?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Didn't want to miss anybody. So thank you. And if we can go on to ongoing business, Mr. Leone has studied the policies concerning subcommittees and the difference between a subcommittee and an advisory committee. And it's of his opinion that really it was probably improperly designed as a subcommittee, and it should be an advisory committee, since a subcommittee really is supposed to have an endpoint, like building a building or something to that effect. Mr. Leone, do you wish to expound on that a little bit with the differences?
Well, it was brought to my attention that that we don't have specific committee members, and that a subcommittee, at least by the policies that I read, did not allow for members of the subcommittee to be people on the professional staff or people in the community. The subcommittee didn't say specifically that they couldn't, but it didn't allow for it. It said that it would be members of, it appeared that it would be members of the school committee only. An advisory committee allows for professional staff and allows for members of the community to be part of the committee and a listed member of the committee. So under that advisement, you know, I'm asking the school committee for advice, for guidance on this. This subcommittee, I feel, is extremely important. This subcommittee or advisory committee has been doing some tremendous work. And I want this work to continue. And so if it's possible to continue this as restructure this as an advisory committee with, you know, a certain number of school committee members, professional staff, and a certain number of community at large, people, parents, whatever, on the committee, then we can continue to have our open meetings for discussion, which, by the way, have been superb, and run by Michelle LaFlamme and Erica Span. They've been great, and I'd like to continue to do it that way. So my recommendation, I guess I'm jumping on, but my recommendation is to put 2 or 3 school committee members, 2 or 3 professional staff, and 2 or 3 members of the community at large on this committee, and then let it do its work.
And it would be an advisory committee, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone wish to come in or jump? I think it looks like that, it sounds like that what we probably need to do is to vote to dissolve the Diversity and Equity Subcommittee and to establish the Diversity and Equity Advisory Committee. Does that sound right, Mr. Leone?
Well, I don't know if we need to dissolve the other one or not, but whatever that process is, as long as we end up with an advisory committee that is the way I described it, then I'll be happy.
I just ask a question. With an advisory committee, do you have a chair, or is it just people appointed?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. It's not. It wasn't clear to me in the policy whether there is a chair or there one chair or no chairs. I have no idea. I assume my own assumption would be that there would be one chair, a member of the school committee that would chair it, and that, you know. So that's but I don't know. I'm in the dark. I'm just kind of winging things.
Okay.
Policy is not my strength.
No, Joe, I think you're probably right on that, is that the advisory committee could have a member of the school committee as the chair of it, and therefore the responsibility for reporting and posting and all those wonderful other things that need to be done. Does anybody have?
It only makes sense to me that would be it, and so that its responsibility is to advise the school committee and the school district with respect to equity and diversity, and the members of the community at large are a big part of that. But the role of the chairperson would be to report back to the school committee all of the things that get cited as advisory information.
And I think I have to ask if you would accept that position.
I would.
Okay, thank you. Jim?
Yeah, Joyce, I know it came up last time, and I guess I'm fine with whatever format works to get the right people on the committee, but we as a school committee never really developed a stated purpose or endpoint. So I don't know if it's up to us to do that, or if we want to try to have the advisory committee put their own statement of purpose out, or series of planks that we would like them to address. Do you have any thoughts, or anybody else on the committee has some thoughts on that? I mean, we came up and as far as I know, the only thing I saw is that we have the title. but
So the
we haven't
subcommittee's
really
been
got
working
right.
on that. The subcommittee does have
Okay.
a statement that they've been working on
Great.
as to who they are and what their goals are, that the committee discussed and voted on.
Okay.
So that's been done.
And
And
it's a very good statement, and
No, we lost your audio,
Yeah.
Joe.
I'm not, I mean, certainly it will be shared with this group. I'm not sure. You know, I guess I would just want to confirm that that was official with the subcommittee before sharing with this group as the final statement. But, you know, I guess
Yeah.
I'm just like trying to look over our policies right now. That's what I'm looking at, is the difference between subcommittees and advisory committees. And it sounds like Joe was advised that we had formed incorrectly as a subcommittee as opposed to the advisory committee. So I was just myself looking at what the differences were.
Are you back?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I think we did it. I'll blame myself. I think I didn't understand it thoroughly, the difference between a subcommittee and an advisory committee. And what we're really looking for right now is an advisory committee. A subcommittee would be more like the high school building committee, who would have an end. So there's our attention. But so I think we just, and then we can take everything that the previous subcommittee did and put it into the advisory committee. And I think they've done some really good stuff. So, and Joe, if you need to make a motion, that could be up to you. It doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know. I don't know in terms of numbers. Like, do I need to make a specific number of people that will be on the committee? I mean, obviously, meetings will be open to whoever wants to attend, and we hope that we get a good number of. But I would like to have a specific number of people that are on the committee. The nominations or whatever, or the recommendations for professional staff, according to the policies, are supposed to come from the superintendent. School committee members that are appointed, you know, can be volunteer or whatever. You know, Cheryl and Michelle have been coming to all of the meetings. In terms of the people, the community at large, I would certainly want to nominate Michelle LaFlamme and Erica Span to be on the committee. And I don't know if there are other people that would want to be on the committee, but if they would.
I think we lost Joe again.
Joe.
It's always when he's doing his best.
Oh,
speeches.
man.
One of the, maybe what I would suggest,
Joe,
I think, if Joe's not back while we're waiting.
I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
We missed what you said.
We missed the last 45 seconds,
Oh, 45 seconds?
maybe 30.
I don't know with respect to numbers, what the correct number of people to be on is, but I said that professional staff needed to be nominated or recommended by the superintendent. At least that's in the policies. As far as community people, again, I don't know a number, but I would certainly want Michelle LaFlamme and Erica Span to be members of this committee. Am I gone again?
No,
No.
you're there. One of the
Okay.
things I would suggest is maybe kind of bringing this shift to the subcommittee. I don't know if they're due to meet tomorrow or if it's next
Well,
Thursday.
we were going to, but since I wasn't sure where we would be, we didn't send out our agenda, and I postponed the meeting until next Thursday.
Okay. So maybe what I would
put us on opposite weeks of our regular school committee meetings, which I think would be more beneficial.
Yeah, that definitely helps. But if we were to, discuss it with that subcommittee, I mean, obviously this committee can kind of come up with some parameters as far as numbers, but I'd like for them to be involved in the conversation as to who's interested, and who, might want to be an official member of the committee as opposed to just an attendee.
Yeah.
Okay. And it does sound like, we need to kind of set up, how long we're asking each person to serve, what the school committee wants the committee to fulfill. I mean, these are just itemized in our policy in item 6. So it looks like, there are some direction that the school committee needs to provide, but as far as membership, I think asking that subcommittee, first would be a good idea.
So I saw in the chat that Erica would like to speak. Is that okay?
Are you going to have a subcommittee report?
Am I?
Is this it?
Well, this is the main thing. I can give a subcommittee report too. I kind of gave it already. We had a great meeting, and I can do that later. But we should decide on what we're going to do here.
I mean, if you would like someone else to speak, Joe, that would be up to you. I think basically it's just the basic structure. The committee is going to operate kind of the way it has, and it's already, you set out some good things, but I think, the basic structure needs to be changed, and you're quite right on that. And thanks for bringing it forward.
As far as the work of the committee goes, I don't think the work of the committee will be altered at all. I just think it gives a little more structure to the committee, and puts it more in line with the policies.
What do you feel, or what have you discovered would be a good size for the committee?
It's really, I mean, seriously, it's just on paper, in terms of like having numbers and having official members of your advisory committee. And so I don't know, I really don't know. I'm thinking 3, 3, and 3 is my thought.
So you're just basically changing the structure of like what it's called and who is sort of in charge. It's nothing about the work is changing. So you're looking to shift the 3 you're sharing the chair, the 3 people over, and adding another school committee member and a couple of staff as sort of the people that oversee or run it, or however you want to say that. And if that, I would agree, you would probably want at least 2, 2 community members, 2 school committee, in case there's somebody that isn't able to make a meeting, to be able to speak from their point of view. But I don't know what the process is with shifting it. Yeah.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, please, Mr. Quinty.
I think we have a request I see on the chat here from a standing subcommittee member to speak to what our discussion is. I would say, since she's a standing committee member, it's no longer public participation, and she has a right to address.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Mike?
I got you, Erica. You should be all set now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just want to say thanks to Joe. He did reach out to me and let me know about this. And, I do have several questions for this committee. I'm not new to this, and this committee was supposed to be created out of a need from the community and a request. Way back almost a year ago, we both Sharice and myself asked for something like this, and we had a difficult start given we had COVID and a number of other issues. So my concern here basically is that it seems like we're kind of almost like the rug's being pulled from underneath us a little bit. And in the sense that, Joe, I realize you have good intents, but all of you are questioning the structuring of the committee. All of you are saying, you know, we're really not sure about what the policy is. So why wouldn't you keep the subcommittee as it is? When Joe pointed this out to me and I looked at the school governance document that is posted on ASRSD's website, and section B on page 16, when it describes a subcommittee of a school, of this school district, it doesn't mention anything about only school committee members being on it. And as far as our purpose is, we put together that mission statement that we voted on, not this past committee meeting, but the committee meeting before that, which was making sure that we created a community and each, you know, school or school district, that's probably the best word to say, school district that has diversity, equity, and inclusion in minority groups. So there's our end goal. So I guess I'm a little confused as to why we would switch to an advisory committee, particularly where myself and and Michelle has also said, we don't even have buy-in from our superintendent. So going to a advisory committee that would then sit underneath the superintendent, which she hasn't even attended the last 2 school meetings, is very alarming to me. When we are making strides and we're doing good things and we're having good conversations, to put that, to change the structure of that is very concerning, because we're pulling farther and farther away from the original comments and buy-in that we had from the school committee. So that's what I wanted to kind of point out is where we're all questioning structuring, and I understand why you'd want to do that and uphold the policy. I saw nowhere in that school policy where the comments that are being made are specifically identified.
I think the whole thing is like, if an advisory committee can be reappointed and keep going on for a long time with advising, with putting in different things and different things that they have found. So the composition of task forces and other advisory committees, where the subcommittee, the school committee, is more like a much more closed-ended committee, that when it finishes its one task, it's over, instead of maybe going on and evaluating or keep evaluating various items.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Joyce. So my last question is going to be, where is this, is it going to remain advisory committee to the school committee, or then are we placed somewhere else in the district? Because I thought I heard a comment that said that it would be advising elsewhere. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying.
As an advisory committee to the school committee. So it keeps it a public function.
Erica, I think I mentioned to the school, to the district as well, but only because with respect to professional development and educational curriculum that we deem is appropriate and necessary for our kids to have, advising with respect to that, not being under the jurisdiction of the ASRSD, just being we're an advisory committee to the.
I lost you a little bit, Joe, but I do understand what you're saying. So I thank you for just taking the time to answer my questions and kind of allay my concerns.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm fine if we just sort of put this on hold. If the diversity and equity subcommittee wants to, it sounds like there's some confusion among members who are currently on the committee. And I don't know how much time they spent talking about reorganization, but you know, if we wanted to wait another couple of weeks for them to come up to speed on it, that might be helpful. The only other comment is that the fact that, you know, I'm not at one of the meetings, or Mr. DeForge isn't at one of the meetings, or the superintendent's not at the meetings, does not mean that we're not buying into it. I mean, one of the ways that the most amount of work is going to get done is that if everybody feels perfectly comfortable with the people sitting at the table and can say what they want to say. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do if the deciders are in the room. So the fact that somebody is or is not in attendance should not be pushed to the point saying that we don't buy in.
So with respect to the committee members being confused about where they want to go, none of the other committee members were confused. It was me. I was the one who was brought to my attention that we're not a subcommittee based on the policy. We're an advisory committee, and so I brought it up. If the committee wants to keep this as a subcommittee and we can keep things going just the way they are, then I have absolutely no problem with that. I just want to make sure that we're legal and doing the things that we're supposed to do. That's I like what we're doing. I love what we're doing, and I think I think that this committee is going to be. But personally, in looking at the policies, I believe we are more of an advisory committee than a subcommittee. But it's a name. It really doesn't mean make any difference, and the work will be the same and will continue.
I think, Madam Chair, can I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting, because I don't know how the other committee members, I don't know enough about the differences between the committees, and actually I didn't know that an advisory committee was even a thing until I just heard it. So I think having a couple weeks to understand the differences of what those are from a policy standpoint would be helpful. But I also want the people that are sitting together, regardless of what committee we call them, they keep doing what they're doing. It sounds like everybody is animated about the progress that's being made, and I certainly don't want to slow any of that down. So I'd like them to keep on keeping on, and at the next meeting, I think all of us would have a better idea of what a standard subcommittee versus an advisory committee is, and we'll make this vote just be pro forma.
Yeah, well, the policies are BDE and BDF. Hard to say the B's and D's together. So
right, it's just
we can review those, and maybe we should review those as part of the policy subcommittee.
Okay, and to be clear, we can have our meeting next Thursday, just the same as we would have.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Okay, and we should probably put something on the agenda for to discuss whether we want to restructure or whether we think it's necessary or not. Okay.
Okay, that's theoretically scheduled for Tuesday, October 6th.
No, we're going to meet next Thursday.
Our meeting.
Oh, your meeting. Okay.
Or your meeting too.
No, we're going to meet next Thursday, which will be what, the 24th?
24th.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's a
Madam
motion on
Chair?
the floor to table this. Do I have a second?
No, go ahead.
Jim has made a motion to table
Oh,
this.
I'll second it. Sorry.
Okay, is any other comments or questions from anybody? Additions or corrections? Not hearing any. Michelle, would you please take the roll call?
Mrs. Granger,
Aye.
Mr. Leone,
Aye.
Mr. Quinty,
All right.
Mrs. Reshoots,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe. This is very good. Something's very important, and we just need to be solid in how we pursue it. That's all. Okay. If we have any policy review, Mr. Quinty, or Mr. I don't think you have anything else for diversity and subcommittee, right, Joe?
No, I basically gave my report. We're doing great. Thanks.
If you want to add anything, don't let me stop you.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Anything, Mr. Quinty? I know we're holding stuff until we're in
Yeah, I still want to put on the, you can take a look at whatever agenda you wanted on. I still wanted us to act on the policy I wrote, AAA, which is on policy review and audit. We put it off. We thought we'd do it when we all got together, and I think we decided that, we may as well take another look at that. So if we could include that at the next school committee meeting. And the question I wanted to ask, as you'll all recall, this was a policy I wrote that would give us a periodic review of the entire policy manual. It separates the policies into different audit cycles, and it has a number of other items that structure exactly how policies are reviewed and what the timetable is. And what I wanted to find out from the committee members, that I'm not sure if it would be helpful or not. One of the big advantages we have in doing an audit this way is that, you know, all of our backgrounds on the school committee are wildly different. I think that makes us more effective because we look at similar problems in different ways. And I started to put together a review sheet, kind of like a set of rubrics that you would use to review a policy. But one side of me says it's a good idea, and the other side of me says that that's going to take away the diversity of assessment that we share individually. So I don't know whether people think that would be helpful or not as a part of policy review, if I put something together for comment, or if we should just leave everybody to their own devices.
Well, any policy has to come before the whole committee to be reviewed. So if people have
I'm not. No, what I'm talking about is, I'm sorry, I'm talking about putting, if we vote and approve the policy as written, which basically says Michelle gets this many policies from column A, B, and C to do in a year, and Cheryl gets this many policies from A, B, and C to review in a year. There would be like a sheet. So when you're reviewing a policy, you would review it for particular things. And then if you found everything was owner, it would be audited and put in the complete pile. If you thought there were changes necessary, it would be brought to the chair for review by the entire committee. It doesn't change the policies. It just kind of gives you a cheat sheet to evaluate each one of the policies. And I'm really torn right down the middle whether that would be a helpful thing or not a helpful thing. I could go either way on it.
So if I could, I would think it might be a little bit helpful just to see at least what your thoughts are on what that sheet might look like.
Okay.
Just to get an idea of, you know, where you're going with it. And then, you know, there could be some structure, but then it could be, you know, an open-ended portion of it too. So that you'd get a little bit of both.
Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll just put that together. So the next school committee meeting, if there's time, or whenever we're going to review AAA, I'll just put an extra sheet together for audit, and everybody can get a chance to look at it and just give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that might be helpful.
So Jim, are you suggesting an overriding policy that says all these policies have to be reviewed by date X, or else we're out of policy compliance?
Yeah, I wrote that. We have the entire policy is written, and we had it, I think, back in June, but we decided that we'd wait because it's brand new and it takes a lot of review. But now I think we're at the point where people are more comfortable in a Zoom environment, that everybody gets a chance to read it. And I think we can decide to enact the policy or not enact the policy in this format if we have to. I mean, ideally, we'd like to be in the same room, but if we were going to be in this format for a while, I think we're now at the point that everybody's comfortable with the format, that we could review the policy and make whatever decisions we need to make here.
Anybody else comments or questions? I'm sure we all have it buried someplace in 5,000 sheets, so we can ask Michelle Town to reintroduce it to us. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
I think you have to, would it be a time limit on this stuff? Then
it's very involved, and I'd be happy to, if there's time at the next committee meeting, if Michelle could just send it out to everybody, I'd go through the how and why I develop it, and I can go through some of the particulars that are in the policy.
Okay, so perhaps if anybody can give Jim any notations or any questions are any suggestions before, that would probably be good. So it could be fine tuned.
Right. I don't mind doing it cold. We'll just start over. It'll be a first read, and it truly is a first read. So
Well, you can have 10 weeks,
I would,
so it doesn't
I
matter.
think we'll be better off if everybody just sort of stands down, and we'll put it on for the next one. Whenever Michelle gets it out, they can read what I've written, and then next week I'll go through some of my thoughts when I put it together, and everybody can comment, and we can adjust things as necessary.
Okay. Is everyone
Yep, that's good.
with that?
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Quinty. I have no notes.
Okay.
Tonight. Are other topics for discussion not reasonably anticipated in 48 hours of this meeting? Do we have anything in that column?
This may not fall under that column, but I just have a question. Actually, if we're going to discuss future meeting dates, I can ask it then, whatever you prefer.
Well, the meeting dates that we have are October 6th and October 21st. Do you have?
Well, I'm only bringing up, we had talked when we made the vote about doing assessments on, what's going on in the schools, COVID numbers in the towns, that kind of thing. And I just didn't know if that was something we were going to start right away, or if we're going to wait until after that October 6th meeting to do that. But we had discussed, a quick Zoom on whatever night of the week, just to check in on how things are progressing at the schools and look at the numbers in the communities to monitor what was going on.
Well, initially, I think we had set that as the first meeting in October, but if you think we should do one before that?
I'm just saying, I just want to bring it up because I didn't know what the intentions were of the committee. If we want to wait till that October 6th meeting, I don't, that's fine. I know we're going to look at it at the October 6th meeting, but I thought we were going to do weekly check-ins based on our conversation when we did the initial vote to do the hybrid model.
Madam Chair, just today, there was a communication from the, who's this from? Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education about reviewing those things and putting time limits on when you should see different color coding and the districts around. So it sounds like it says they're talking about a 3-week period before you make an assessment, so that you have not a single one-day shot. Dr. Malone?
Yes, sure. Thank you. A couple of comments. Yes, Michelle, we talked about when you voted on hybrid plan that we would evaluate October 6th meeting, evaluate the health metrics, and I think that was what the committee decided upon. I have it on my calendar, on our agenda calendar for that meeting. We do the metrics. Get a chance to look today. Didn't change in ERA, the case count. So this was through September 9th, which was last Wednesday, and the case counts for they look at the last 14 days, there was 0. And so the relative change in the case counts were lower, and the total positive tests in the last 14 days was 0. Positivity was 0%. In Shirley, it was less than 5. So there were 2 positive cases in the last 14 days. So it was a case count was a little bit higher, but still obviously very low. And then the percent positivity rate in Shirley was 73%. So I will get those numbers. Like I said, I didn't have a chance today. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I checked on them before 4 o'clock, and the numbers were the same.
Yeah, and then the commissioner's letter. So he, at the meeting we had today, he cited the same thing. He didn't. What he's saying is that if you start to see an increase, like don't immediately jump to remote. He doesn't want to see districts going hybrid, remote, hybrid, and switching back and forth and stuff. He said, he's recommending that you wait for a period of time to see if the trend is actually increasing in cases, that are reported in your respective towns. And to Mr. Quinty's point, and I put it in one of the parent communications last week, is just reminding families to keep our networks tight. As Jim pointed out, the Aaron Shirley communities have done an excellent job in keeping transmission of COVID-19 low in the two communities. And, knock on wood, we haven't had any cases in the schools. So we appreciate the work and effort of all of the families and all of us that work in the schools. As you know, we've been back working in the schools since last May. So, whatever the will of the committee is fine with me, but I thought, that would be the plan. And then I think the purpose was to evaluate phase 1, which is what we're in right now, and then determine if the committee wanted to vote for us to go to phase 2, which would be full half days. What we have right now, but only the students would stay for the full day. And of course, what my recommendation would be to the committee, if that would be the will of the committee based on the numbers, and I can bring you the numbers from all these weeks, but they're basically just staying, the same and low, then we would certainly want to have a few weeks to transition to that. So that would be my comments.
So Michelle, what do you think?
That's fine. I mean, even if we're just, we're obviously all looking at the numbers and monitoring them. We don't need a meeting to do that. I just, know that we had discussed having update meetings. And if we even can do that via an email, just to say, numbers came out Wednesday afternoon, on a Thursday, this is what it looks like, I'm fine with that too. I just,
Well, are you requesting that we send you a weekly report? Is that what you're asking? I can do that.
I don't want to put any more work on. I mean, we're all looking at them, so I'm okay with that. With not doing that, at least, until we, get a little further in or we start to see some changes. I'm just following up to the committee because I know we had, discussed that when we made the vote. But so, I'm okay with not getting, an email report. I know you're looking at the numbers and I'm looking at them too. I just bring it up because, I want everyone to be aware that that's what we discussed and just want us to be all on the same page.
Yeah, and I have been, I put it out publicly that the school committee is going to be reevaluating on the 6th. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we see something, then we can meet always. You can always pull an emergency meeting for something like this. And if we have to, we will. So like you said, the towns are doing really good and we're all looking at the numbers constantly. When this all first started, my husband was working from home and every day I got a report when I walked in the door. Okay. So finally I told him he had to not look at it every day. So I think you're right. None of us are going to be slack in noting what this is. So thank you, Michelle, for keeping us online on it. That's good. Is there any other communications? That was the big communication we had, by the way, was the thing from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, I thought. So we do have an executive session tonight, and we will go into executive session only to come back for the sole purpose of adjournment. Pursuant to the Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, paragraph 21A and 3, for the purpose of conducting strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as conducting this deliberation in open session would have detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee. The committee will return to open session following the executive session only to adjourn and to discuss strategy with respect to litigation pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, paragraph 21A and 3, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the school committee. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Do we have a link for that? I don't have a link.
Huh?
Is there a link for the executive session?
Yes. If there is you open into a different meeting.
I think it's in the drive, Joe. If you look in, do you have the drive?
Right. Well, I can get to the drive.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
There's a Zoom link in there.
So it's a separate thing in the drive? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
There's a separate email.
Okay.
I had trouble too. Okay. If I could have a motion for executive session, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Michelle Town, please, if you have a roll call vote. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight before we go into this. We really appreciate all of you being here.
Mrs. Granger,
Aye.
Mr. Leone,
Aye.
Mr. Quincy,
Aye.
Mrs. Reshoots,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll reorganize in executive session. Thank you.